Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on detecting and remediating command and control attacks. I'm really excited that you joined us here today. But before we begin, I do want to let everyone know that today's session will be recorded and shared out via email, so you can rewatch at your own convenience. Furthermore, we're going to have a Q&A session at the end of this presentation. So feel free to use your Zoom control panel at the bottom of your screen to ask those questions at any point in time. So now moving into the agenda for today. So I'm going to start off with an introduction to myself and my co-speaker. I'm going to go into some command and control best practices. Severin is going to give us a demonstration in the Simplify platform, and then we're going to follow out with a Q&A session. So really quick, my name is Caroline Adams, and I'm on the demand generation team here at Simplify, and I'll be moderating today's session. I'm very excited to introduce our speaker today. Today, I'm joined by Severin Simcoe. He is a sales engineer and he joined Simplify over 2.5 years ago. He spent a lot of time working in the research and development department as a team lead of developers. And so he was responsible for the integrations and the Simplify marketplace. In addition to that, before joining Simplify, he worked for a company in the Czech Republic. So he actually designed and maintained SOCs for companies from Central Europe. So I'm really excited to have him here today to give us a demo in the Simplify platform shortly. But before we begin, I want to quickly mention, for those who may not already know, that here at Simplify, we were acquired by Google Cloud. So this acquisition and our SOAR technology really complements Google's security portfolio. So this already includes Chronicle, Security Command Center, VirusTotal, and others. So with the benefit of scalability, maturity, and multi-cloud support, we're really now going to take our SaaS SOAR offering to a new level. And it's going to transform the way your security operations centers defend against modern security threats. So now just a little bit more on Simplify specifically. So as a company, we are really rooted in security operations, and we like to say we were born in the SOC. So our company was founded by security operations experts who actually worked in the government SOC, and then they moved on to train dozens and dozens of both military and civilian SOCs from around the world. They founded the company and developed Simplify based on their experiences and really everything that security operations teams need to succeed. We are a best in breed security operations platform, and we're really trusted by the biggest and best enterprises and MSSPs from around the world. So many Fortune 500 companies and the Gartner Magic Quadrant trust Simplify as a platform to run their security operations day in and day out. And finally, we're really designed with the customer in mind. So we focus on providing rapid time value, flexibility, and the power to help your SOC move beyond the daily cyber ground and really concentrate on what matters most. So building resiliency and investigating and remediating threats fast. So now we're going to move on to some more on command and control, and specifically the different types of command and control techniques. So first of all, there's 3 different models to look at here: the centralized model, the peer-to-peer, and then random. So looking at these different ones, first talking about the centralized model. This is where clients can interface with a focal system and main server. So this is acting as an operator for all correspondences. And this is often probably the easiest to detect and block because commands are coming from a single server with an IP that can be quickly detected and blocked, as opposed to a peer-to-peer that really doesn't have a main or central server. It's much harder to detect. And then finally, looking at a random model. So this is actually making it the hardest for cybersecurity experts to detect because there really isn't a chain or a trace to shut down the server. And it's often used through random sources. So these sources could include random links in social media comments, Gmail, chat rooms, and more. And one common attribute that attackers look for in these is that people mostly trust these sources and use them frequently. So it's really easy to kind of attack from there and use these random links. So now moving on to some of the risks associated with command and control. So there's many associated risks that go along with command and control, and these are sort of things that attackers can accomplish through these attacks. And some of these include data theft. So sensitive data can be moved to an attacker's server, and then supposedly an attacker can eventually close down one or two machines and potentially shut down this whole server. And this finally can lead to a reboot. So a server might suddenly shut down and reboot, and this can disturb a whole ongoing task. In addition from that, and overall, this could end in a distributed denial of service. So this type of attack can be used to take down an entire website, which is really putting the company at risk. So now moving on to, now these things are all risks, but how can Simplify help this? So this is now looking at kind of how at Simplify we respond to command and control attacks. So now we're going to dig into what a command and control attack might look like. So first, you're going to get an alert and receive a suspicious email trigger. Then after that, you're going to want to enrich it with additional context, including things like the source, destination IP address, and then list all the IPs against which the alarm was raised for later escalation to tier 2. Then you're going to want to investigate this by gathering the following details. So first, the attack pattern, any prior malware alerts about the victim IP. And if this is found, then finding the source of malware and repeating your malware investigation steps and marking it true positive and escalating information. Then finally, identifying the command and control servers. So first listing the destination IPs found, and then capturing the network traffic in infected machines. So by listing these destination IPs for any malicious contact communications found, you're going to then check the reputation for the destination IPs, and then finally go to the contain and remediate stage. So in this stage, you're going to first blacklist all the identified CNC servers within the firewall, hunt for any backdoors on infected hosts, and then finally hunt for the origin of the attack and look for any previous alarms on the infected hosts and use corresponding playbook for that. So this was just a very quick overview of what this might look like at a simple rate. But now we're going to move into the actual demonstration in the platform, and we're going to see that within the actual platform. So I'm going to hand things over and let Severin show us that.
Thank you very much. So let me please share my screen with you. You should be able to see Simplify right now.
Yes, you can see that.
All right, let me just move this one out. Okay, good, very good. So there's a couple of ways of how alerts can be ingested into Simplify. The most commonly used one is by using a connector. Connector is a component of the platform that periodically pulls alerts from any third-party systems, SIEMs, antiviruses, EDRs, mailboxes, etc. Second option to add alerts into Simplify is manually, directly from this case view that I am showing you right now. And the third option is to use Platform's API. What you see on the left side here is a list of all of the open cases, and all these small logos refer to customers or environment that actually generated those alerts. We are here today for the C2 traffic, so let's have a look at that one. You will see that this C2 traffic case contains 3 different alerts: virus found or security risk found. Second alert is the IRC connections, and the third one is out of working hours login. In a traditional SOAR, where orchestration, automation, and active response are all focusing on alert, there will be one case created for each one of these alerts that were found. What can potentially happen is that in your organization, multiple analysts will be assigned to investigate. Each one of them will be assigned to investigate one of these alerts without actually knowing that these alerts are related to each other. That's one of the main reasons why Simplify is taking a drastically different and much more efficient approach to this. Simplify is taking a threat-centric approach to investigation and SOAR, which means that once we get alerts into Simplify, we standardize and normalize them, and then we extract important artifacts, also called entities. Once we have those entities, we correlate on them together with the open cases that we have, and that allows us to group alerts into cases. This patented mechanism is based on time and context and is fully customizable and can be adapted to customers' needs. So if we have a closer look at each one of these alerts, you will see right away that the first alert is an out of working hours alert. As I mentioned before, here you see the extracted entities for IP address, username, hostname, etc. And once we get alerts into Simplify, we extract these entities, we group alerts into cases. We enrich the entities and try to get the context about the alert. So as you can see here, the playbook automatically enriched the internal user David with the information from Active Directory. Just because this is an out of working hours login, we probably try to get information about his department, his location, where he is working, etc. And as an analyst, when we have a look at this alert view, you will also see that the playbook even automatically contacted the user and asked him whether he can confirm that it was him who logged in outside of working hours. The playbook is then waiting in the background, and based on the user's response, it then proceeds to appropriate actions in the playbook. I will show you how a playbook for this particular alert is looking like just in a second. As an analyst, from this alert view, you see some additional information from MITRE ATT&CK that can be showing some mitigation techniques or some guides of how to proceed. If we have a closer look at the other alert that's part of this C2 traffic case, you will see that the layout is very similar, but contains different information about this particular alert. So it contains different entities. Here you will see that for the enrichment, we used integrations with IP Void to enrich the IP address. We used CrowdStrike to enrich the username from David. And you will also see that the playbook, which is attached to this alert, even executed a query in Splunk and returned some additional related events from Splunk and to present them to analysts. So you will see right away that this query returned events that are related to suspicious amount of messaging and chat traffic, suspicious FTP detected on non-standard port, etc. So it's for an analyst, it's very easy to understand the context of everything that happened within this alert. So the main goal of this case view and Simplify in general is to prepare, is to give an analyst a very clear and focused picture by presenting, first of all, only the alerts that really require additional investigation, that really require additional attention from a human being, and then present all of the important and necessary information to those analysts so they are able to make a smart and quick decisions by having all of the information at this alert view in one place. If we have a closer look at the last alert that is a part of this C2 traffic case, we will see similar information, CrowdStrike enrichment, some additional information from MITRE ATT&CK, and we will also see results from the threat intelligence. Simplify partnered up with a company called Anomaly, and we basically try to combine the best SOAR product on the market with the market leading threat intelligence platform, put them together. And this cooperation or the partnership is based on a very robust and complex integration and provides some very unique features when it comes to threat intelligence. This simplified threat fuse integration provides threat intelligence basically capabilities to the entire investigation, remediation, and active response process. Part of each case is a case wall. So an analyst will be able to see all of the changes, all of the comments, and also all of the results from individual actions that were executed on any of the alerts within this case. So the goal here is that the analyst doesn't have to go to VirusTotal, doesn't have to go to Active Directory, doesn't have to go to Splunk. All of the information for him or her are accessible from Simplify. So we are like a central place that centralizes information from different sources. And this is based on integrations with those systems. Currently, we have some 350 plus officially supported out-of-the-box integrations that are available on our marketplace. So not only the way we group alerts into cases is unique, but also the way we visualize them. Let's have a look at example for this C2 traffic case. As we saw before, this particular case contains 3 different alerts. If we have a closer look at each one of them, first alert is showing that David logged in outside of working hours to his machine. Second one is showing that the server tried to connect multiple times to potentially malicious server outside of the company. And the third alert is showing that a malicious file with this malicious hash was found on David's machine. We believe that by having an alert or a case visualized like this, even a junior analyst will be able to understand the complexity of complex attacks. So as an analyst, you always have access directly from this view to additional information about each entities. And as an analyst, if you're working on this case and you find it, for example, suspicious, what you can do, imagine that as an analyst, I would like to force a password update in Active Directory for this user because I found it suspicious, right? All I have to do is to find appropriate action, which will be force user password in Active Directory. Second. And all I have to do as an analyst is to go ahead and execute this action. And right after this, a password update will be forced for this particular user in Active Directory. So we believe that it is very simple and straightforward for the analyst to be able to understand the alert, to understand and get all of the important information about all of the entities or important artifacts that are included in the alert that we fetch from SIEM or from a mailbox, and then to be able to take an action if it is needed. CMs, EDRs, antiviruses, all these systems generate hundreds, if not even thousands of alerts overnight or over the weekend. The thing is that we can deal with the vast majority of them fully automatically, which means that only the remaining, let's say 10% of the alerts really require that additional investigation or additional attention from a human being. And that's the entire goal of Simplify, to automate and to automatically enrich entities, automatically proceed with the remediation, and basically close and resolve automatically all of the alerts that do not have the priority and can be solved automatically. So this is pretty much how the C2 traffic case is looking like, and this is how Simplify can help reduce the time which is needed to investigate and resolve this probably one of the most common attacks that is happening on a daily basis. And as an analyst, if you are looking at this alert view, you always have access to the raw events that trigger the alert, and you always can see what's the stage, what's the status of the playbook, which was automatically attached to each one of these C2 traffic related alerts. That brings us to our playbooks. And we will have a look at the playbook for remediation of malware. That's one of the alerts in C2 traffic. I will disable this simulator mode. We'll explain what that is in a second. And what you see on my screen right now is our intuitive playbook builder. It doesn't require any coding skills, and it's a simple drag and drop mechanism that allows your analysts to build their playbooks, to test them properly. And as I will show you in a second, it's very easy to build a playbook by your own. Each playbook in Simplify starts with a trigger. Trigger is a condition or sets of conditions that specify when a playbook is going to be attached to a particular alert. These blue blocks are regular actions such as enrich host name, send an email, get execute query in Splunk, etc. These green blocks are eventually playbooks within playbooks, which means that this particular automated triage block contains all of the actions that are needed for enrichment of entities using a virus total, right? So it contains action enrich URL from virus total, enrich hash, enrich IP address, etc. This block can be reused across your playbooks, and it helps with the management of life cycle at scale. So what that means is that if you need to make a change in the playbook, this is pretty much the only place where you have to do it. So if we have a deeper look or a closer look at what's exactly happening in this playbook and how this playbook enriches, investigates, and remediates one of the C2 alerts, you will see that at the beginning, the alert is ingested automatically. To Simplify, this playbook is attached to that particular alert. Then as a very first step, we will change the status of the alert to triage. Then we will run the triage actions to enrich those entities and to get context about the alert. Then as a very next step, we change the status to something like investigation, get additional information from MITRE ATT&CK about the possible techniques or mitigation strategies. And as a very next step, the playbook is checking if entities that were found in the alert are suspicious. If they are not suspicious, the playbook can automatically close an alert as a false positive. So only the alerts that contain suspicious entities are actually investigated further and remediated. So this purple block is a condition, and as you can see here, this condition is manual, and it asks basically the analyst to make a decision whether an endpoint that was found in the alert should be contained or not. Based on analyst's answer, the playbook then proceeds to appropriate actions, as you can see here. So this is pretty much how a decision-driven workflow can be built in Simplify. These manual conditions are not required, but sometimes you may have important actions such as again, isolation of an endpoint or adding an IP address to a firewall block list, which typically are the actions for which you would require some kind of additional approval, some kind of additional acknowledgement from a human being. So at the end of the day, you don't want to isolate a CEO's machine without being very sure. So this is pretty much how this decision-driven workflow can be built and simplified. As I mentioned before, based on analysts' response, we will either contain the endpoint in CrowdStrike Falcon, or we can send automatically an email to a SOC manager, or we can change a priority on a case or assign a case to some other higher tier, let's say. There is a couple of unique features that when it comes to playbooks and Simplify. One of them is that you are able to build different alert views for different roles in your team. So in your organization, you can build different alert views for tier 1 analysts, different for tier 2, different for your customers. Each one of these alert views is based on widgets, is again drag and drop, very easy to set up mechanism, and each one of these widgets are fully customizable, can be adapted to your or your customer's needs, and it even shows you a preview of how each one of these widgets will be looking like. We have also built a simulator mode into this playbook builder, and simulator mode is basically a mechanism that allows you or your customers to run actions and play with the outputs in a pre-production environment without affecting production data. So once you or your customers are building your own playbooks, you have the ability to test your playbooks properly before you use them on production. Another unique feature when it comes to playbooks and Simplify is that you are able to monitor the playbook's behavior. So what I am showing you right now are some of the metrics that show how this playbook run within the past 6 months, which is something that can help you optimize the playbook, see where the inefficiencies are, and apply the appropriate actions into the playbook. So this was just an example of one of the playbooks that was attached to the C2 traffic. And let me get back to the case. And so now if we get back as an analyst, you see for each one of these alerts, you see right away which playbook was automatically attached to investigate and solve each one of these alerts. You will see what's the status, what's the stage in which each playbook is. And again, the main goal here is to automate the process of enrichment, of investigation, of active response, and let your analysts to focus only on alerts that really require the attention and really require additional investigation. If you as an analyst are working on such a case and you need, for example, additional approval or some other information from your customers, you always have the ability to assign a case to your customers or to some other colleagues of yours. And you're also able to collaborate with them very easily using this built-in module for chat. So we made it very easy for you to be able to collaborate with your customers or with your users, ask for permissions, ask for more details, and then gather the information directly into the platform. Simplify right now, as I mentioned, comes with some 350 integrations out of the box. Simplify also comes with dozens of ready to use, ready to deploy use cases, where one of them is exactly the C2 traffic. So if we have a look at this one, it's an out-of-the-box use case that we provide. So you can use this out-of-the-box content with our SOC expertise. So you as a customer or your customers, you don't have to build every single use case from scratch by your own. Every single use case that we provide, and we are looking at the C2 traffic, of course, comes with a list of playbooks. So these are the 3 playbooks that are associated with the others that we saw before. It's a playbook for the malware investigation. It's a playbook that that automatically investigates the out of working hours login, and is the playbook for RIC connections. Each one of these out of the box use cases come with a list of integrations that are included in those playbooks. So as a user, all you have to do is to just follow this wizard, install the integrations, configure the integrations, and within a couple of minutes, you're good to go. You can start using our out-of-the-box content in your environment. You can very easily modify the content, modify the playbooks, and start very easily and very quickly to have very quickly the ability to respond and automate your C2 traffic investigation. Part of each use case are also test cases. These are the test cases that you can use when you build your own playbooks for C2 traffic, and you are able to use these test cases in your test environment. So you basically make sure that your playbooks work correctly when you use them on production. Okay, we can go back to the cases real quick. If we have, we can right now have a look at, we had a look at the out of working hours login. We will see the RSC connection as we did before. You see right away as an analyst the pending actions. Pending actions, I'm not sure if I even mentioned it, but those are the actions that you as an analyst have to approve or respond directly. So the goal here from a tier 1 SOC analyst or somebody who is daily working with our platform, once you log in, you go directly to the homepage where you see all of the open cases. You see all of the open cases, some basic information, and as an analyst, you can go ahead to each individual case. You see that today we have 2 open C2 traffic cases, and as an analyst, you see those pending actions that I mentioned before. So you can see that this particular alert or this particular alert are part of the C2 traffic. So as a tier 1 SOC analyst, every single day in the morning, you see right away all of the pending actions or all of the action items for the day for those alerts that really require the attention. Because those alerts that we could close automatically, we already did. So it drastically reduces the amount of time that is needed for your analysts, and it gives them the ability to focus only on the relevant stuff. So again, as an analyst, you can go ahead directly from this view to each individual case and or respond directly from this view. So this is one of the examples for which the action or the playbook which is attached to this alert is waiting for analysts reasons to close the alert, and as an analyst you can just go ahead, respond to that particular alert, and you will very easily resolve it. Good. Okay, can we proceed to questions?
Yes, I think that's great. So I want to remind everyone that if they do have any questions, just use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen to ask those questions. And we'll Awesome. So yeah, we just got some questions that came up. So one of the questions is, if a customer is using a system for which Simplify doesn't have an integration for, what are the options to implement a new integration?
Yes. So as I mentioned before, let me quickly show you the marketplace. Simplify comes out of the box with some 350 integrations. We have a dedicated internal team that is responsible for new integrations or improvements of existing integrations, and we release those improvements or new integrations on a weekly basis. So we have integrations with the most common security and also non-security related systems, and there is a couple of options to achieve this. So either you can use our professional services, you can wait until an integration is officially released, or if you have the technical capabilities, we implemented a Python IDE directly into the platform, which means that as you can see here, every single action that's part of an integration, you will see the code and implementation for each one of these actions. You can very easily modify the logic of each one of the actions that we provide out of the box, or you have the ability to create integrations, actions, and connectors with the systems that you are using in your environment. So in short, you have three options: professional services, wait for the official release, or you can create the integration by your own.
Great, thank you so much. So we had another question come in. So regarding predefined use cases, what are the best practices relating to these out-of-the-box use cases? And in addition to that, what should a Simplify user pay attention to regarding this predefined use cases?
Yes, so as I was showing you briefly before, here you see some of the most common use cases that we have built for you. It contains, of course, C2 traffic, phishing, DDoS, etc. And all you have to do as a user is to just go ahead and install each one of these use cases, or the use cases that you are interested in, and the integrations, the playbooks, and the test cases will be immediately a part of your Simplify environment, and you can right away start ingesting alerts, and you can right away automate your currently manual workflows within Simplify. So again, the entire goal is to automate your manual processes and make it very simple for you and for your customers to automate them and to have a full visibility and full control over what's happening when it comes to the security alerts from your infrastructure, from your environment.
Thank you. Thank you for your answers. I have one final question that came in, and they were wondering if the platform is multi-tenant.
Yes. So the platform is fully multi-tenant to its core. We provide full data segregation. You can create different environments, as you can see on my screen right now. These are the small logos that we saw before that are initiated with the alerts that were created from different environments. You can also create different playbooks, different dashboards, and different reports for different environments or different tenants. We also support proper permission groups, so you are able to configure different roles in your environment, specify which elements of the platform will be visible to those particular roles, and also which actions users that belong to those particular permission groups can do. On a user level, then, you can restrict or allow the environments that the user has access to. In short, the answer is yes, the entire platform is fully multi-tenant.
Great. So we're going to close out our Q&A session. That's all we had time for today. But before we go, I'm going to quickly share some slides with you guys. So if you could stop share this one, I'm going to pull up the slide deck again.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So before we go, I do want to quickly mention that here at Simplify, we do have a free community edition of our platform. So this version is completely free, and it really enables you to have that full experience managing security operations from a single platform. So you can run use cases, you can build playbooks, you can integrate your tools and respond to security alerts with speed and precision. And in addition to trying out SOAR for the first time, you can actually get access to our Slack community. So you can join a group of security operation experts from around the world. And if you're interested, you can visit simplify.co/community, and you can actually download and gain access to the community today. So I want to thank you all so much for joining us. If you have any additional questions, please do not hesitate to reach out, and appreciate your time today. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you all.